Greetings, fellow travelers. Welcome on in. This is the RPG Cave level 192. Of course, I am one of your hosts, the level 199 human Dark Lord Ryan Turford, and I am joined, as always, by the level 199 elf battle alchemist, Dr. Garret Bland. How's it going, Garret?
It's going, man. It's a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
I'm waking up. I had my coffee. It's, when I make my latte in the morning, I have to drink it pretty quick or else it'll just get cold. And it's just not fun.
Yeah, that's not fun for anyone, Garret.
No. You have to drink it like within 15 minutes or else you're not going to have a good time.
Yeah. Whereas the opposite happened. We had a discussion at work on Thursday where, people in the office were like, man, I leave my coffee out all day and somehow it tastes better.
What does it do? Is it
4 hours later and somehow it tastes better that way, Garret?
That's a weird saying. Yeah, do they let it just cool off? And
I guess. I don't know, man. Don't look at me.
Some weird people, man. Like, once coffee turns cold, or just like a lukewarm, it's just like, it's not good, man. It's not good.
I mean, again, if you're if you're doing that as like fast food coffee or something like that, it's fine. But I guess you do that with certain coffees because like McDonald's coffee, as an example, is the type of coffee you don't want to get cold because it has this weird like tinny taste when you do that.
Yeah.
Whereas
I know that tinny taste. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas
for sure.
Tim Hortons, I kind of agree with them that where if it gets cold, it's not terrible. It's still fine. But
it's just saying that 4 hours later, this coffee that I brewed poured for myself gets better. It's just like no, that's
true.
That's weird. Okay. All right. Anyways.
Yeah.
I like
Sean,
to
of
shun
course,
people. Yeah.
just got his McDonald's coffee too. As we're talking
That's
about
great.
coffee.
Good for him, man.
Yeah. Oh my God. This is the RPG Cave, of course, where we talk about coffee all the time. This is the usual part where I usually talk about how we talk about RPGs all the time. But
yeah. We talk about coffee all the time now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't even really drink coffee because can't drink caffeine anymore. So it's mostly Garret. It's mostly Garret who talks about
Yeah, it's all me. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, I've got my usual Predator glass filled with water today.
Yeah. Water.
Please be excited. So of course, let's take down these mobs so we get to the raid boss as quickly as possible. So Garret, of course, we got a new patron over at patreon.com/Carpool Gaming. We've got Rosale, who joined in at the ad-free all-in-one tier. So shout out to Rosale for hopping on in to the old Patreon, patreon.com/Carpool Gaming, where of course we have all kinds of exclusive content. Speaking of which, of course, we have the Pants Patreon podcast for Patrons Podcast, our weekly AMA show, where we have a rotating set of carpool hosts. They answer your questions, and then we put it up as an individual podcast. So Fuya's podcast was out all week this week. You can go listen to it if you haven't listened to it yet. Fee's Pants episode will be out tomorrow from the time that you're listening to this, or if you're watching it, the live stream. If you're listening to this later, whether it's on Patreon or on the free feeds, it's already out. You can go listen to it. But then on Monday, because I always like to tease up the next person who's on the Pants podcast, there's a question post that will go up for me. Hi, Ryan Turford.
Nice.
My question post will be up tomorrow. So if you have questions for me about anything, feel free to go to patreon.com/Carpool Gaming. Ask me a question, and it'll appear on the Old Pants Patreon podcast for Patrons podcast this coming week. We also, of course, have the CPG Days movie podcast, of course, us fulfilling our promise that we made at Carpool Gaming Days, Garret, where we, of course, spun the wheel 20 times and spun 20 movies. And we of course, we're doing individual podcasts about them. And the next one up, of course, is Almost Famous. It's out right now with myself, Seth, and Sean. Of course, Almost Famous, one of my all-time favorite movies. So shout out to that podcast. And, of course, I believe there was a new episode of Campfire that came out this week as well with you, Garret.
I debuted in Campfire. Yay.
Yeah.
It was with Locklith and Seth. It was fun.
Exactly.
We talked about many different things. Like, we went crazy,
That is kind of how Campfire goes.
Yeah. So go take a listen.
Yeah, go check it out over there on the old Patreon. Of course, carpoolgaming.com for all your different merch needs. If you require Carpool Gaming merch, it is over there on the website. Well, without further ado, Garret, it is now time. Let me know your things, my friend.
All right, so let's get into these things. It's only 3 things this show. We're going to keep it nice and tight.
Especially after last week. You had like 9 things last week.
Yeah, I had like too many things last week. So let's get into it. So the first thing I have, I actually wrote these down. Yeah, I just saw this morning, Ryan.
I did too.
It happened. Persona 3 Reload leaving Game Pass in 2 weeks, and you know what that means, Ryan?
You got to play it.
I gotta pause everything. I'm just like, okay, we gotta play
Cyberpunk's going on the back burner for Persona 3 Reload. You
I gotta play the answer before it leaves Game Pass. All right.
Oh, that's right. That's right, because you got the answer for free forever to keep, but you can't actually play it if you don't have the game.
Exactly. Yeah. So I haven't bought Persona 3 Reload, so I'm gonna be grinding through the answer over the next couple weeks or so. See if I can knock it out pretty soon.
Yeah, we all knew Persona 3 Reload would not stay in Game Pass forever. All the Atlas games have kind of rotated in and out, usually within the course of a year, but this one actually stayed on a bit longer, which has been nice. But yeah, you're right. Like without you got to play the answer now. Otherwise, like if it takes you longer than 2 weeks to beat it, Garrett, you're gonna have to buy this game at that point.
And it's not gonna be a good time.
It's like $80 Canadian. So.
I would definitely put buy it on sale.
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say actually here in Canada, I had to correct myself. That's a $93 game in Canada. So
why is it a $93 game?
Because Atlas is weird, man. They whenever a game is $89.99 Canadian, which is $70 American dollars, they like to put it up to $93.99 Canadian.
That's rough.
Yeah, because that's how much Metaphor was in some other games.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah, just major announcement. For anyone else that's in my situation, there you go. Persona 3 Reload, leaving Game Pass 2 weeks. I don't like this two-week warning with these games. Give me a month. Give the games like this.
I was going to say, because some games it's okay. Farming Simulator, as an example, rotating out the yearly Farming Simulator games, you can do those in 2 weeks. Because those are short games. But Persona 3 Reload, if someone saw that, notice today and they had 2 weeks to play it, this is a long game on its own, even without the answer. You wouldn't be able to. Most people wouldn't be able to finish it in that.
I think people would really struggle. Yeah, I think you're just hurting yourself. I think Xbox is just hurting themselves doing this.
Yeah.
But
this is the type of game you give a month's notice.
Exactly.
Or even longer than that.
At least a month, because this game's so long. Yeah. It's this and Anthem and something else that's Farming Simulator. Previous year, I don't know.
Yarden chimes in the chat and just says, "Just wait and buy it on Switch too."
Ew. I'm just kidding. I actually don't have. Well, of course, I have Shin Megami Tensei 5 on Nintendo Switch, but I don't think I have any other Atlas game on my Switch 1.
Yeah,
that I can think of.
To be fair, I don't have that many either. I have 13 Sentinels on Switch. I have Catherine Full Body on Switch.
I have Unicorn Overlords. That's it. I have that on Switch.
Yeah. Good, but that's it though.
I'm always buying, or I'm always playing Persona either on my PlayStation or Xbox.
I mean, Ron brings up a good point here. Persona 3 Reload has been 55% off on both PlayStation and Xbox.
That's still too much. That's still $30. It's just I just gotta get through the answer.
I was gonna say, if you finish it in 2 weeks, you get it for free. So,
yeah, exactly. So
yeah, free $99 is better than 55% off. So, and of course, Yarden is just maybe stop procrastinating on games. I'm I don't know. About
you know what, Yarden, you don't need to tell me.
You just came back from vacation. Of course you couldn't play it. That's different.
Doing these games full-time job. Just give me a break. I'm playing Cyberpunk for goodness sake. Anyway,
that is kind of my fault. I made Garrett play Cyberpunk.
All right. Thing number 2, I am deciding to remove Windows from my Steam Deck. I've had it for a little bit, I think a little over a year. Mm-hmm. And it was a good companion to play these smaller games on Game Pass PC. And then I tested out a few other outside games or whatever on my Steam Deck, and I'm just I think I'm good because I can just go on my SteamOS, I can do remote play, I can do cloud gaming. I don't think I need this anymore, and I would like the extra space on the SteamOS side. So today I am removing Windows crappy on handhelds anyways. Yeah. So I think that's just a given to remove it. And
I mean, Windows
go
has
from there.
always been crappy on like handhelds or mobiles ever since
Yeah.
like the mobile Windows operating system released. Like
Yes.
it's never really been good. So
Yeah. So yanking it out. And I looked up YouTube. Yeah, there's so many videos about uninstalling Windows. I think people just like on Steam Deck like to tinker with things. So like if there's a possibility of putting an OS on a Steam Deck, they just clamor towards it, experiment with it. It's like, okay, I think I'm good.
yeah,
And then got out. So
makes sense.
anyways. The third thing, Ryan, I mean, it's pretty big news, of course. Nintendo Drive will really get into it, but
we're also kind of talking about Nintendo today anyway, so it kind of makes sense.
yeah, for sure. Nintendo just, the product price increases, just like, yep, this is happening. Here's the exact, I'm glad they made it very clear. It's like, these are the dollar amounts.
Yeah.
These are the accessories. These are the consoles that are being increased. These are the other stuff that's not being increased yet.
Dude, the hilarious thing about this
Yes.
was the fact that a month ago, we got the announcement in Canada that the prices for all of the Switch accessories and consoles and games were going up on August 1st in price.
Oh my goodness.
And they didn't announce that for any other territory. And they
Right.
didn't even tell us what the prices were. They just said, be prepared, August 1st, prices on all this stuff is going up. And then it just so happened when August 1st rolled around, Garrett, they only had announced it initially for us, but then there was an announcement that morning after they posted
Right.
the Canadian prices saying, oh, by the way, the US prices all went up too. So it's so weird to me that they kind of did it that way, where it's like they announced it for us a while ago, so we were expecting this change. But for the US, they were just like, we're going to just do this here too. Why not? And it's on
Yeah.
old Switch stuff too. Like none of the Switch 2 stuff has really hit. And like the Switch 2 hardware is the same price. The Switch 2 accessories are the same price. Everything else that went up in price was like Switch 1 hardware. So the
Right.
Switch OLED, which by the way, Garrett, I posted this in the Nintendo Drive Discord. Currently in Canada, the Switch OLED is almost 500 Canadian dollars.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's you do not ever buy a Switch OLED for that price.
The PlayStation 5 is 500 Canadian dollars. It is $15 more expensive currently than the Switch OLED.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like get a PS5 for goodness sake at that price. I hope people, if they are getting like a Switch 1, get it used, because people are just selling their Switch 1s or Switch OLEDs like crazy. Just because, people are getting a Switch 2. So I think this is just a matter of it's a few things. Of course, they're not, they're of course assigning the reason to be tariffs and economic and market conditions. Is like, okay, yeah, you could say that. You're also pushing to sell your Switch 2 more than your older hardware.
I
Like,
think
we
that's
know
the
what you're
play
doing.
here.
Yeah,
Like,
we know what you're doing. You don't want people to really get the older hardware unless you just want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And you just have such a low stock now, or you're at a point where like, we'll just raise the prices, and we predict to run out of stock for this X product by end of fiscal year 2026. That's all what this is all about. It's just maximizing profit margins for
sure.
Nintendo. Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like for us, Garrett, we're already in the Switch ecosystem. We're not obviously the people who are buying the Switch 1. So this really doesn't affect us personally. But the thing that does affect things, and Garrett, this didn't happen in the States, but this happened here. All first-party Nintendo games actually went up $5 in price. So they're all 85 Canadian dollars now for like baseline games. Like I looked at, Advance Wars is on my wish list as an example, my Switch wish list, and it's 85 Canadian dollars before tax. So that's like $100 game after tax. So it's just crazy to think about. So that's the thing that really, like, to me, is the thing that really affects me out of this whole thing, is just the game prices actually went up more, which is crazy to think about. But again, it's all the Switch 1 game prices. But yeah, it's like, it's such a weird thing, Garrett, to be in a generation where like the prices on consoles have only gone up, at least in Canada, since basically the PS4 era, where like the consoles have only appreciated in price. So like, that's why I'm actually glad I waited to sell my Switch OLED, because I was originally going to sell it when I got my Switch 2. But I'm glad I waited, because now the price is actually even higher, so I can get a little bit extra for it when I sell my Switch OLED. But that's also why I bought the Switch 2 right away, because like I didn't have any regrets doing that, because I know the price here in Canada specifically, especially with the tariffs, if they continue, that price is only going up. So like, I wanted it now anyways for Metroid. So it's just like, why not pull the trigger? Because it's the cheapest it's going to be.
No, that makes sense. And I think everyone getting a Switch 2 day one, it's better to probably get it then than later. I will definitely keep my eye on the pulse with Switch 2 prices, because, they, and that message is just pretty foreshadowing. It's just like, we're not adjusting the price of Switch 2, but, like they open to interpretation. Of course, we can change the price whenever we feel like it. Whenever the market,
whenever the market conditions.
Exactly.
No, and that's the thing. It's not even us picking on Nintendo. Sony and Microsoft are going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's just the business climate right now. So
yeah. It's still better than Microsoft crazy console price increases. So
again, I'm expecting the same price increases from Sony in the coming months. Of course. That is just where we are with gaming right now.
Like if they have another announcement about Switch 2, I would not be surprised if it goes up $50 easily. Yeah. It's $450. Like it screams for $500. Actually, it screams for that nice round number. So I'll definitely keep my eye on the pulse for that announcement.
It's honestly, dude, it's gonna be interesting to watch. But anyways, cool. Well, Garrett, before we move on to our main topic to talk about awesome stuff from Nintendo, I want to go on a little side quest. I see a little quest marker over there. There's an exclamation mark over some dude's head. Let's go up and talk to him. So
let's do it.
Of course, I talked about this on the show before with Seth, but of course, Magic the Gathering update, because first of all, so many people. I want to mention. I love the fact that so many people in the RPG Cave are embracing the Magic the Gathering. Ever since we started talking about it on the show, people have kind of taken to the RPG Cave Discord as kind of like the Magic the Gathering spot where we talk about Magic the Gathering stuff all the time. And of course, I received a newest, package in the mail, Garrett, from the hit RPG franchise, Sonic the Hedgehog. And Magic the Gathering. So
of course,
I want to show it off. Of course, Sonic the Hedgehog, of course, starring in the role-playing game Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood, made by BioWare on the Nintendo DS.
I'm sure.
Makers of Mass Effect, Garrett, made a Sonic role-playing game.
Of course they did.
Let's see here. I'm gonna click around. Oh.
Yeah, there's some sort of connection.
It made me a little bit bigger. I'm gonna show.
Oh yeah, you're huge now.
So I got some cards here.
You got some cards to show off.
Of course.
Let's go.
We got, first of all, Dr. Eggman.
I see Dr. Eggman.
Dr. Robotnik. He's a Grixis card. I kind of want to make like a robot deck with this dude because, of course, Dr. Robotnik's or Dr. Eggman's whole shtick is he likes to turn animals into robots. And, of course, Garrett, they did a Magic the Gathering crossover with Transformers. So there's a bunch of Transformer robot cards that could go in this Dr. Robotnik card deck that could also have other robots from like the newest Magic the Gathering space set that also has robots in it.
My goodness.
And then Doctor Who also has also has robots in it. And also, Garrett, the Fallout set has some robots in it. So I can make a whole
just
deck
created a Frankenstein deck. Like, no joke.
It's just a mishmash of Sonic and Doctor Who and Transformers and all kinds of stuff. So we got that. Of course, we got Amy Rose here. She's got her big hammer, and her style of deck is she wants to get big equipment out, like big hammers, and smash people in the face with them. She's pretty cool. I want to make a deck out of her. She's pretty cool. This is actually the bonus card, Garrett. This is the Chaos Emerald Shrine. This is where the Chaos Emeralds kind of originated from before being split up across the land. But there was actually a chance, Garrett, that this card could have been a Chaos Emerald itself. And the Chaos Emeralds are very rare and are going on eBay for about $300 right now.
Wow.
So I missed the money shot, but this the Chaos Emerald Shrine is a command tower, which is a land that you play in basically every deck. So this is a very, very useful card to have, and it's in foil, and it looks really cool. We've of course got Super State, Garrett, with Supersonic on it. This is an enchantment that basically turns your character into supersonic, and it looks really cool. So there we go. Of course, we got Knuckles. Going for some emeralds. Knuckles is actually like a pretty popular commander, actually, like a pretty popular like head of a deck, where you just smash people in the face. Basically, is kind of what Knuckles does, as you kind of would expect.
Yes.
Of course, your boy Sonic the Hedgehog with the ability gotta go fast, Garrett, because Sonic likes to go fast. Of course, this is all about playing creatures with haste, which means they can attack on the turn they come out because again they go fast. Makes sense with Sonic.
Makes sense.
And of course, we got Tails.
There we go.
Yep, Tails' deck is all about vehicles. So, because Tails is like an engineer, he builds planes and other vehicles. So they have like you kind of put a bunch of other like vehicles and spaceships and stuff in his deck and do the thing. And then Shadow the Hedgehog, probably the most popular card from this entire drop. One, because people really like Shadow, but two, he's actually very, very powerful. The really powerful card, and he also kind of cares about creatures that have haste like Sonic that go fast, essentially. So there you go. That's the Sonic the Hedgehog Magic the Gathering drop, Garrett.
So would
very
you
exciting stuff.
have Sonic and Shadow in the same deck? It kind of seems like it.
Well, you could, but the colors don't really match up. If you were playing, that's the thing. These cards are not really legal in anything outside of Commander or Legacy.
Got it.
And Legacy is really the only format you could play them together. Because when you play Commander, the way it works is like the colors that you can play are based on the character leading the deck. So if Sonic was leading the deck, it would be a blue, white, and red deck. So you couldn't play any black cards. And Shadow has black in its color pip.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because obviously it checks to be like, hey, can you cast all the cards in your deck? Is kind of how that works.
Okay.
So, yeah. There you go. We got Sonic Magic the Gathering cards. Of course, we also have the 2 Avatar cards come out, Garrett.
Yes.
Last week as well at PAX. They look pretty cool, but I think we'll do a deeper dive on the Avatar cards.
Oh, no, it's San Diego Comic-Con.
That's right.
That's where,
That's where they were.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we'll kind of, when we get more of those, I think we'll do a deeper dive this fall.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, because like we mostly, actually at San Diego Comic-Con, there were a ton of Spider-Man cards revealed, Garrett.
Yes.
And that's kind of like the next set. So we'll get a lot more Avatar cards in like September or October, I think. So
sounds good.
We'll kind of wait till then to kind of go through some of those. But cool. All right, Garrett. Now it's time to read from the sacred texts.
Oh,
exactly. It's time, Garrett. We had a Nintendo Direct predictions episode.
We did
go up last week, where we actually made it. We recorded it before we even knew it was a partner direct. So
yeah, that's true.
A lot of our predictions were about Nintendo first party stuff, which of course was not here. In fact, we like you talked about Monolith Soft. I talked about the what I think is still like a non Rabbids Mario like strategy game is coming at some point. None of that happened, obviously here.
None of that happened.
In fact, all of our predictions were wrong, so we're not even probably going to go through them.
Let's not get into it.
If you want to hear them, go back and listen to last week's episode. Although I did kind of get one right from the Summer Game Fest thing, but we'll get into that as we go through this. So I just wanted for us to kind of do like a deeper dive, and then we obviously on some of the games that we got in us. Now, you and I were both on the Nintendo Drive this week, our Nintendo podcast.
Yes.
We did like a mini episode where we talked about all the games from the Direct, but we only really spent brief time talking about any one of these. So I kind of wanted to do a deeper dive, Garrett, with you talking about some of these games. And also I have impressions on one of these games because I have played one of these games.
Ooh.
So
nice.
We'll get into that as well. So let's start off, and we're going to kind of go through the order that these were revealed in the Direct. So we're going to start with Monster Hunter Stories 3. This is out in 2026. Of course, Monster Hunter Stories 3, the sequel to Monster Hunter Stories 2. It looks really beautiful. It's like cell shaded. It's anime. It's more Monster Hunter Stories from the looks of it, from things we heard about after the showcase. It's still turn-based, so they're not doing anything. They're not going out of the box with this one. It just sounds like another in the game of the series. And I'm curious to know, Garrett, first of all, actually, let's answer Skycatcher's question first.
Sure.
Because Skycatcher has a question for us saying, have you played any Monster Hunter Stories games? I played Rise solo, and it was okay, but I'm really interested in the Stories series. So before we talk about 3, we should talk about this, of course, because we've talked about Monster Hunter Stories on the show before, where you and I have both played Monster Hunter Stories 2, but I never finished that game.
Okay.
Whereas I think you did.
Right? I did finish that one. And I played a good bit of the first Monster Hunter Stories game originally coming out on the 3DS, and there's a Switch version now, which is pretty good. So as Ryan mentioned, Monster Hunter Stories is kind of the monster catching / turn-based combat light game that's in the Monster Hunter kind of setting. Whereas, how the typical Monster Hunter games are just action RPGs, boss rush fighting games.
Well, also you've got like, you're like hunting monsters as well. Like you're
you do
tracking them and
yes.
you're locating them. Like I think a lot of that experience of playing Monster Hunter is like just finding the monsters in general.
Yes. Yeah. So, I really enjoyed the second one, even though, of course, we always say it that the performance was not that great on the Switch one. Which I mentioned
before. That was the reason I kind of like bowed out of it, where I was just like, I'm going to wait and play this later when either there's a patch, which there wasn't, or it comes to another console, which I didn't actually end up buying it on another console. I still just only have the Switch 1 version, but the Switch 2 is out now, and is from what I've heard from other people who have played it, has really ironed all that stuff out, and it runs like at a flawless 60 frames per second for the entire game now.
That's nice. I think they just had the frame rate unlocked from the beginning, and so now it just runs perfect on Switch 2. So, it's a very good, satisfying monster catching game. I think the turn-based and like the weakness and the strengths within that game, it's different enough from Pokemon where it has its own fun. I don't think it's another Pokemon clone that you see, those indie monster catching games that you see out there in the space. It's pretty unique. It has a lot of Monster Hunter elements.
Yeah.
But in that turn-based.
But like one of the things I like about the tactics in that game is like you are really trying to predict what your opponent, what moves your opponent's going to do.
100%,
and like you're trying to counter those moves. Like I like that. Like I think that's pretty unique in turn-based role-playing games where a lot of times you kind of take your turn and they kind of take their turn, and they're not really like, you're not really clashing or anything like that, like you would in like a real battle. So I actually thought that I always really liked the system that was in this game for that reason. So I always like the story of Monster Hunter Stories 2 is okay, but like the real draw to it is like the collecting and the combat, like to me.
Yes.
And that's what I really liked about it. So that's actually why I'm pretty excited about this one, Monster Hunter Stories 3, because, as Ron kind of puts out in the chat, it looks like this game has a bit of a budget behind it. And
yeah, it does.
I'm curious to see, maybe one, if they can have like maybe a really compelling story to go along with it this time around, but also like how they refine the combat this time around, and those exploration elements, because I think this game could be very interesting and super fun to play. Yeah,
and the animations in Monster Hunter Stories 2 was pretty good. The performance was rough in certain villages, but once you get into battles and do like ultimate attacks or whatever, the animations are really good.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure it's going to just look so much better on this third game. It seems like the setting for 2 was more island like focused, it's like that, you're at a island village and you're kind of trying to save this village from the dragon or whatever. It seems like this one is more medieval, Game of Thrones-ish, which is, you don't really see that in a Monster Hunter series game. Or any kind of game in the Monster Hunter world. So I'm curious how they're gonna take care of that story.
Yeah,
maybe they're really leaning in Game of Thrones type of style, or Fire Emblem, type of, there's different factions and trying to figure out that story. So
yeah, the fact that they even showed the royalty in the Monster Hunter world, Garrett, is something I don't even think we've seen in any of the games before.
No, we haven't.
So it's like, I thought that was like that was something that stood out to me too while watching the trailer. Was like, I was like, oh, this trailer is kind of going places with its story. So
it seems like the main protagonist seems more special than the previous ones. In 2, you're just like, oh, you're just a random person. Yeah, that's you are just a nobody. But then you are the chosen one at the end, or something like that.
Wasn't that the same way in the first one? Because I didn't play the first game, but I heard it was kind of the same way.
I think so. It's been a while since I played that one, so
yeah. Well, that one was on 3DS. Like that was a long time ago.
Yeah, but cool. I'm very excited about 3. Yeah, and we just got a year, 2026.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think? And I expect this is probably like summer of that year.
Summer.
They put that.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Because I remember like Monster Hunter Stories 2 also came out in the summer, and that's also when they released kind of the re-release of Stories 1 and 2. So like, I think they kind of like the summer window for this game, like the Stories games. So That's just my bet, especially because we know Capcom has Resident Evil to start the year next year, and then they'll probably have this in the summer, and then I think their big game for like the next fall is Pragmata, the game that they showed at, like the PlayStation showcase. So
yeah.
I expect like that's kind of their year, is like they'll have like Resident Evil to start, then Stories 3 to kind of like be like the middle, and then Pragmata to bookend the year. So yeah, cool. That's what I think. But
Sounds good.
Yeah. Do you think the same thing?
Yeah, no, that seems to make sense. I think at the same time, I don't think like those 3 games really overlap in terms of audience. Like, oh, I have to choose between Monster Hunter Stories 3 or Resident Evil 9. And I'm like, yeah, no, I think that's a pretty split audience
That's true.
for the most part. But I think, it kind of makes sense to spread them all out.
Yeah. Or at the very least, the 2 you don't want overlapping are Pragmata and Resident Evil. I think
that's true.
have like the biggest crossover.
They're pretty close, yeah.
But yeah. Either way, I'm super excited to see what they do with this, and I want to see more. I want to see more of, what they do with this. Like the story I probably don't need to see more of, but I just really want to see like the game in action to see if it actually like if the open world stuff actually looks, good, and if the combat, like what refinements they made to the combat more than anything.
And this is a timed exclusive on Switch 2, if I recall,
as far as we know of.
Okay. I think that's what they're going to follow through
Like they
with.
just said they just said exclusive to Switch 2, but they said the same thing about 2, and it eventually came to other platforms. So
yeah, and they do that for all the Monster Hunter games. Rise eventually came to PC, so
yeah,
and PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah, I think all of them except for Monster Hunter, the newest one, have really always been like exclusive to Switch, timed exclusive. So I'm expecting the same for this.
And Worlds.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. The big main Monster Hunter games now don't come to Switch. Interesting. Yeah, I wonder if the next Monster that'll be a ways away. If they'll ever come to Switch. Maybe Wilds will come to Switch too.
Yeah.
That would be interesting, actually.
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, because it would definitely run it. I mean, the newest one, like it runs on Series S, so they could both.
I'm sure it barely chugs.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's not an optimal experience. It's probably like running Dragon's Dogma 2 on
performance
Series S as well.
Yeah.
That's why, like, when we were doing our predictions and I thought about Dragon's Dogma 2 for a second, I was like, no, that game, I don't know if that game's ever coming to Switch 2. Because I don't know, like that. I think the Switch 2 would melt if it tried to play that game. After what you told me about it, where that game like barely runs on like
on my Series
PCs.
X. Yeah, it's not that well optimized on PC. Yeah. I think Capcom is notorious with PC optimization, with Monster Hunter games specifically. Anyways, yeah.
Either way, though, with this though, I think Capcom actually has like a really good year next year of games.
They do.
So
they
I'm pretty excited. I'm excited for all 3 of those games.
Yeah.
Moving on. A game we've seen it already, and we saw at a previous Nintendo Direct. Final Fantasy Tactics Ivalice Chronicles out September 30th. September 30th, I should say. Of course, it went up for pre-order as well the same day, and they confirmed that finally that there's a Switch 2 version of this game, because before this was only available or only announced for Switch 1, and that it's like a free upgrade if you buy the Switch 1 version, which is interesting because if you pre-order this game and you want like the deluxe edition of the game, Garrett, it's only available on Switch 1.
Interesting.
But then you just get a free upgrade to Switch 2. Which is
so you do get a free upgrade for this one.
For this one, yes.
Oh man, that's so interesting because the Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D remake or whatever, that's separate SKUs.
It is.
And yeah,
with no upgrade path.
With no upgrade path, yeah. If you buy the Switch 1, that's what you'll get.
Yeah,
and that's wow. Okay.
Which I'm actually kind of surprised by the way that we didn't see Dragon Quest 1 and 2 at this event, because there was actually a Nintendo Direct partner showcase in Japan at the same time, Garrett. And they actually had it there. So I thought it was interesting that we didn't see it at this event. But yeah, Eva's Chronicles is the only one they give the free upgrade with, because another game we're going to talk about that got a Switch 2 upgrade that just came out as well from Square Enix also is $10 upgrade path.
Oh man, so they're really just doing this like product by product, type of deal.
It's very
interesting.
Weird.
Another interesting thing, Final Fantasy Tactics Ivalice Chronicles on Switch 2 physical is game key card.
Yeah.
Not surprising, but the Switch 1 is all game on cart. So
Yep.
physical owners, I mean, like for this type of game, like if you really want all the game on a cart, I don't see getting the Switch 2 version makes sense for you.
Well, not only that, like
yeah.
how much of an upgrade is it going to be for
Exactly.
the Switch 2 version? Other than maybe load times, I think might be the only. Like it probably optimizes the load times better.
Honestly, even the load times, like you have it, like well, actually, you're right because it's all on the cart. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the thing. But here's the thing though, Garrett. I don't know if you knew this, but I finally opened my copy of Tears of the Kingdom for the first time. And because I've had the collector's edition since the game came out and never played it. And so I finally opened it when the Switch 2 came out because I was like, oh, I'm going to put it in my Switch 2. I'll get the free upgrade with NSO for this game. And it doesn't play off the cartridge. It downloads the full game to your Switch 2. And then you play the game off your Switch 2. And the cartridge is basically just there to, validate that you own the game.
Yeah, okay, so that makes sense because it's gonna be a separate Switch 2 version SKU,
right? And that's
digital package. Okay.
The reason I brought that up is I think that's going to be the same with this.
Yeah, you mentioned the free upgrade. That's what they're gonna do if you play Switch 2 or the Switch 1 version of this game on a Switch 2. You'll just download the Switch 2 version. Okay.
Exactly. But I will say it is nice that they do it this way instead of the way Xbox does it, where you are forced to play the newest version. You can't, go back and play like the Switch 1 version. Because what if there was some reason why, like maybe the game ran a bit better, or maybe there was problems with the Switch 2 version, you could still play the Switch 1 version of this game if you still had the cartridge. Or likewise, for speedrunners of this game, there might be exploits in the Switch 1 version as an example that they do that it's useful to have that. So I like the fact that they have so that you basically have both versions essentially if you have like the physical cart. So I do like that about this.
I'm just letting the physical owners out there. I know they're clamoring for an actual game on a cartridge. Get the Switch 1 version of this game. I think that's an
and just opt for the free upgrade down online because you could actually just pre-order the free upgrade now and it'll just download when you throw the cartridge in essentially. So. But yeah, so I just want to mention as well about this game. We didn't talk about this the last time we talked about this game because this is newer information, but apparently, the folks at Square, were in their infinite wisdom, were not keeping source code around for games in the PS1 era. And they didn't keep the source code for this game and
they didn't have GitHub. They didn't have Dropbox.
No, they used the source code to develop the PSP version of the game, the War of the Lions. But then after that, they basically discarded the source code, thinking they would never use it again or never need it again. And then of course they don't have the source code for the War of the Lions PSP release either. So in order for them to bring this game out, Garrett, and the reason why it's probably taken so long for this game to come out after we saw it in the NVIDIA leak. Because the NVIDIA leak, I think, was like 3 or 4 years ago at this point when we saw this game first mentioned, is that this game, they had to rebuild the entire game from scratch. They had to start over essentially on this game and remake the whole game. So even though this is like almost like a remaster, this is actually like a full remake of the game essentially, which is crazy to think about.
Can they do some sort of compiler or decompiler from like a physical cartridge game? Is that possible?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, not in the way that they would need it to repurpose the game, if that makes sense, or port it to another console. So, so it's crazy to me that Square Enix believed in this game so much after knowing what I know about Square Enix that they put the development time and money into remaking this game from the ground up. Yeah. So it just gets me even more excited for this game, Garrett, because I do think that actually opens the door up to new possibilities of stuff that we could maybe even see in like the enhanced edition of the game that's going to have some extra features because they have like an original mode that's meant to emulate the original game and be like a 1-to-1 remake of the original game. But they also have this extra mode that they maybe could, since they're not doing a direct port, it's a full remake, like what they could actually, like what things they could implement with that version of the game.
Yeah, they were mentioning a lot of quality of life enhancements and extra narratives when they were advertising this game.
They even mentioned difficulty options, which I think is a good accessibility
That's great.
feature too. Because the original game didn't have that, and it got notoriously difficult towards the end for new players. So I think there's a lot of interesting things we could see with this version of the game.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for it. I like Final Fantasy Tactics already, so I think this game's going to be a good one.
September 30th, though, that's a hot date.
Yep.
Is,
we'll talk about that as we go, because again, there's a lot of games coming out. Well, I mean, to be fair, any games releasing this fall it's going to be a bloodbath anyways, because there's a lot of good games coming out this fall, honestly. But speaking of games coming out this fall, Garrett, Persona 3 Reload. If you didn't finish on Game Pass in the next 2 weeks, you can go buy it on Switch 2 on October 23rd. Finally, this game's coming to Switch 2, or just the Switch in general, and I think this is just a good thing because we knew Atlas had the folks at Atlas had talked about this, where there was enough happening under the hood where it just wouldn't run on Switch 1 without serious compromises. So and that's why this version's actually just Switch 2 only, October 23rd. I think it's going to run at 30 frames per second, they said.
I think so, too.
On Switch 2. And they confirmed in an interview yesterday, Garrett, that the answer will be available later at a later date. So cool. We had talked about this on Nintendo Drive, where at that point we hadn't got an answer as to whether or not the answer and the other DLC was coming to the Switch 2 version, especially because you can't actually buy it inside it. And they confirmed, yes, it's coming at a later date. They just don't know when, so it's not up for pre-order yet. Yeah. But it'll go up for pre-order whenever they know when that date is, essentially. But it shouldn't be too far off, they said. So
cool.
I mean, this is a game, Garrett, that if it goes on sale like this Black Friday or something, this is a game I could see myself double dipping on for Switch 2.
Yeah, I played this on Steam Deck through Windows. I did play this quite a bit, and it ran 30 frames per second just fine, even 40. Yeah. So I'm sure it'll run pretty optimally on the Switch 2. Yeah. And I think I'm curious what the performance is between handheld and dock mode, if it's such a big difference or not. I think it'll run really well, and it's a fantastic game. Yeah.
And I've wanted to replay the answer anyways, play the answer. Yeah. Anyways,
are you gonna go through the whole game and then?
But I was gonna have to go. I wanted to go through the whole game again anyways. Yeah. That was the thing. I wanted to basically play it as one experience. This is maybe the perfect opportunity to do that. Again, probably not. It's not a day one pickup for me because again, it comes out at the end of October. Lots of games are coming out this fall, and especially too. I'm expecting to I'll be all in on Metroid Prime when that comes out and stuff like that. So, or Ninja Gaiden. So I think this is a game that when it's on sale, I probably pick it up when the DLC comes out and then play it that way.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah. Next up, Garrett, we got a Shadow Drop. Romancing Saga 2 Revenge of the Seven, Switch 2 edition, out right now. This is the one, Garrett, where it's $15 Canadian or $10 American to get the Switch 2 upgrade. If you are,
that's not bad. I feel like that should be the expectation. Yeah. For a lot of these upgrade packs.
Not only that, but if you were to purchase it now in the first 2 weeks, I think that it's on sale, and it's 30% off for the Switch 2 version. So it's $40 Canadian to buy just the full game if you don't already own it. So
okay.
And there's a Switch 2 demo in case people want to try this game.
Try that out for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a game I talked about on the show before because I played it last year. Or actually, hold on. Was it last year or earlier this year? I can't remember. Maybe actually, I think it was earlier this year.
Was it earlier this year? It could be.
Yeah. Because this was a game I didn't finish. But I liked my time with it. It just goes on way too long, I felt like. Because again, it really feels like a game that shouldn't be 40 hours long, but it is.
It's one of those games.
But it's like a turn-based role-playing game, and it's honestly one of the best soccer games.
I heard it's a pretty strong one. Yeah, very good reviews for it as well. It's just, of course, for a lot of these games, it's a little too long. Yeah.
The only downside I'll mention is the story kind of sucks.
Okay.
Yeah. It's this weird kind of story where essentially you are trying to get rid of this group of 7 demons that have sworn revenge against the kingdom, but you, the king, start out as one person at the beginning of the story, but then it goes on over the years and years and years as you basically like crown a new king every so often. And not only that, but there's time jumps in the game where like sometimes the game will be like 1,000 years in the future, like 1,000 years have passed.
Oh
and you're
no,
playing a
it's
new
one
king,
of those.
But then it's not really the future. It's still like it's basically just the town looks exactly the same 1,000 years in the future with no technological advances. So it's like it's weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird disconnect, and it forces you basically to pick a new king. So if you got like really attached to someone, it does that, and it just happens at weird points in the game, Garrett, where it's like you'll talk to a random NPC, not expecting a time jump, and then instantly time jump to 300 years later, and you have to pick a new king because I guess like your king was like, oh, I'm gonna marry this random girl I found in this village, and we'll have to pass on the mission to stop the 7 to someone else. So,
oh my goodness. And
like the conceit of the game as well, Garrett, is that the longer it takes for you to defeat the 7 demons, because the more powerful they become over time. So the final boss fight actually becomes more difficult the longer it takes for you to actually get to it. So
okay, now you're really discouraging me to play this game.
Yeah, like that's
I had some inkling of like, oh, that looks cool, and there was some good reviews. But man, when you say that last part, that's I don't like games when they do that. Yeah, I really don't.
Exactly. Like I'm not a big fan of that either. However, I know people in real life who do like that kind of thing. Yeah. So I think if anything I just told you about appeals to you, then yes, try the demo because I actually think the game is pretty solid if you like the type of like mechanics I just talked about.
Yeah.
It's just not, I just didn't really find when I played it, it was really for me. I honestly would have been good if the game was over in 20 hours, but it just goes on.
It just goes on for a long time. Okay.
Yeah. So
got it.
But the combat though, in this game, super fast, really fun. Like I actually really enjoyed that part of the game. And it actually like makes me like hope that this new version maybe does well enough maybe we get a Romancing Saga 3 remake, because that is more in line with what I'm kind of looking for, where it doesn't do this time mechanic thing. It is closer to kind of like a traditional Final Fantasy game but you basically pick your starting character and you have like a group of like 4 characters you pick from out of 8, and that's kind of your main party, and you go on this kind of epic quest. That game is really good. From the Super Famicom. So I hope that that's what we see next from them if this does well.
Sounds good.
And I looked, Garrett, after this went up on the Nintendo Store charts. It's the only game that came out within the last week that's like that's actually like entered the top 10 Switch 2 game charts. So I think people are actually picking this one up. So
yeah.
And the price is good. So moving on. Borderlands 4, Garrett. We only saw brief snippets of the Switch 2 version. It's coming out October 3rd, but then they released a full trailer after the show came out.
They did.
That was a Switch 2 trailer for the game. And we said this on Nintendo Drive, and I'm going to just echo it again. This game actually looks pretty good on Switch 2. Like,
it kind of
runs 30 frames, but it looks like the console version, but runs at 30 frames, like the other console version. And I got to say that if the reviews come out and this game actually runs pretty well on Switch 2, like this is where I want to play it.
Yeah.
It's on Switch 2.
I think it was a good move to really thinking about the development for the Switch 2 version and making it released as soon as possible. And it looks like they've done it. The previous Borderlands games, or at least with 1 and 2, of course, that was way earlier than Switch 1. Yeah. And of course, they came out with 3. It took a little bit. I think it took a few years before it got it into the Switch version. But yeah, this is the closest ever between console releases, between the Switch 2 and the rest of them.
Yeah.
But as
September
you said,
14th is when it comes out on other consoles. So
yes.
a couple weeks.
Yeah, a couple weeks. But as you said, like it's just the same. It looks like the same kind of performance other than it's 30 frames per second, which, with cell shading and everything helps. Yeah. You don't necessarily need super detailed graphics for that art style.
Yeah.
But
I will say it does hinder like the fluidity of the shooting. But again, like Borderlands isn't really like a super difficult game anyway. So
no, it's not.
I think that's okay for this type of game.
Yeah. And then also couch co-op, I think it'll be technically performance better on consoles or other things. But man, if you try to do a split screen on the Switch 2 version, you're probably going to have a bad time.
No, this is the type of game, though, where it's going to have crossplay, just like all the other versions of Borderlands. So we'll just link up with our friends, like online.
Oh, man. Are we all going to play Borderlands 4 together? And we're going to have a 4-player community night? Yeah.
Oh, if you want to, too, Garrett, I would love to play Borderlands 4 with you, actually. That'd be pretty fun.
I can't wait.
And
I'll get on PC.
Sure, I was going to say, I'm sure Sean will probably be picking it up, too. So, like, I think that people are going to be picking this game up. So I'm going to have to basically wait to catch up with y'all. Because you said you were going to get it on PC, so you'll probably get it sooner than me. But because I'll wait till the Switch 2 version's out before I grab this one. Okay. But yeah, I'm excited for Borderlands 3. I think it looks great on Switch 2, and that actually gets me excited for this game more, but also just the future of Switch 2. If we've got games like this that actually perform and look well on Switch 2, especially with the way that the previous Borderlands games ran on Switch, it gets me excited for this one. So
for sure,
yeah, your Gearbox has not had a history of good Switch ports or good handout ports in general, because like the Vita version of Borderlands 2 also comes to mind. But
yeah, well, that was an interesting one. I read through the development of that particular version. They were really hesitant to really get it on that console, of course, and I think Iron Galaxy ported it.
Yeah,
they had to. Basically, every time an enemy dies, they had to make sure it disappears. Like, it's like you won't find a body anymore. And then you won't have an animation of dying. So, there was some major concessions with the Vita version for Borderlands 2. But I don't think it's going to be like that for Borderlands 4. I think they'll be fine.
No, I think so, too. And again, you know what? At least that Borderlands 2 for Vita version, still better than Call of Duty on Vita. That's the main thing.
Oof, yeah.
That's an old chestnut, folks. If you don't know anything about Call of Duty on the PlayStation Vita, you should go with that game. Oh my God. All right. Next up, Garrett, we got to talk about the games that closed out the show. We had 2 games back to back that closed out the show, and I think it actually led to some confusion that we're going to get into when we get to questions, because we got a couple questions about these games. So first off, let's start off talking about the first of 2 brand new HD 2D games from Square Enix. The first one being a brand new IP. This is The Adventures of Elliot, The Millennium Tales. Comes out in 2026. First of all, that name, Garrett. That name.
It's so bad.
It's so generic, but I kind of like it. It's so
So you remember the mouse game that was advertised on this Switch 2 Direct?
Hella, yeah.
Yeah, no, this title kind of really fixates on me with that mouse game. I don't know why. I think of a mouse game other than a HT2D action RPG. It's Anyways, all right, we can keep on going.
It's all good. I kind of get it though. Stuart Little, Elliot, they kind of like run together. They're kind of in the same line of things. But so The Adventures of Elliot, first of all, it's an action RPG, as you mentioned, in HT2D, the very first action RPG in HT2D, because we've only really seen turn-based games, whether it's triangle strategy, where it's like strategy but also turn-based, or just a traditional turn-based role-playing game like Octopath Traveler. This is the first time we've really had like an action RPG in this style, and a lot of people were unsure if we would ever see a game in HT2D that would be an action RPG, and I'm glad that they finally are going down this road with this game. What's awesome about this game though, Garrett, there's a demo. It's out right now. It's basically like the prologue demo for the game. Your save does not carry over to the next game or to the full release, and that's okay, because it's kind of like the triangle strategy or Octopath Traveler demo, where they're really like putting that out there for feedback, because you can tell that when they put out these demos and they asked for feedback, people gave them feedback, and they actually made meaningful changes to the games before they came out. We actually remember seeing that it was triangle strategy, where people had provided a bunch of feedback on the combat in that game, and they kind of retooled the entire combat system based around that feedback. So this game, Garrett, I played the demo last night. While y'all were playing Fallout 76, I played The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales demo. Yeah. Let me tell you what, Garrett. This demo is really good. It's really good.
That's what I hear.
I really want to play this game now. Holy crap. So first of all, we talked about it on the Nintendo Drive, where this game kind of reminds us of the Ys 2D games.
Yes, it really does.
And that's how I felt a little bit going into it. But actually, the game that reminded me the most while playing it was Link's Awakening. or
Oh,
other
okay.
2D Zelda games. Like this felt like an isometric Zelda game, but with heavy role playing elements. Because again, you've got a bunch of you've got a full equipment screen where you're switching out your different weapons because you're picking in the demo. You'll unlock different weapons along the way. They'll unlock upgrades to your swords, your bow, your bombs, which again. Weapon choices very reminiscent of Legend of Zelda, Garrett. You've got bombs to start with, bow and arrow, and a sword, and a shield. Like that's all Legend of Zelda fare. So you even have like a charge attack that then is very similar to like the spin attack in Zelda. So even just the way that you explore things, because there are shrines in the demo, Garrett, like challenge shrines where you have a fairy companion along the way. Her name's Faye.
Yeah.
Faye the fairy. And she usually helps you in combat. She'll attack the enemies sometimes, or she'll like pick up loot as you kind of go around the environment. But you can actually control her using the right analog stick as well, if you want to like move her around. And that comes into play with some of the puzzles throughout the game. Because there are shrines, as an example, as I mentioned, that will either be like combat focused, where you have to kill a bunch of enemies, or they'll be like teaching you or having you utilize fairy in interesting ways. So you have two abilities with fairy that we saw in the trailer initially, that you start out with in this demo. One of the abilities is that you can move super fast, where fairy basically hops behind your character and like pushes you and you run really fast in one direction.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that was pretty
and
cool.
you can like slam into the wall, and like fairy and the character are both like, ow, and they're like rubbing their heads. You don't actually take any damage, but it's just funny every time you do it.
Yeah.
And then her other ability is the warp ability, where you basically move fairy somewhere, you press the button and you teleport to her location. So like in the one of the shrines, as an example, we saw it in the trailer where it had like a bunch of arrows coming down the stream with like barricades, and you like move fairy with the right analog stick behind a barricade, you warp to her, and then you basically like make your way around this arena, dodging these arrows and then making it to the end. And then when you complete these shrines, you actually earn heart pieces, similar to Zelda, where they're in like
wow, that's very Zelda-like then.
Yes. Well, I haven't gotten to the most Zelda-like part, Garrett. Because that's up there. That's very reminiscent of something like from Breath of the Wild, right? The shrines from Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
But then there's also dungeons. There's 3 dungeons actually in the demo. And the dungeons feel very similar to Zelda dungeons, where you've got, a map with multiple different levels, with treasure chests, with keys that you have to obtain that then open certain doors. And you'll actually obtain your other equipment and other weapons in these dungeons, or you'll earn like bomb upgrades or arrow upgrades, where you can hold more bombs or more arrows, as an example. Or one of them had like a boss at the end of it, that I won't spoil, but it's a cool boss, that was actually in the trailer, that when you beat it, leading up to it, you earn the chain scythe, which is like the chain and sickle that you kind of swing around. And that allows you to actually get through certain areas that you couldn't get through before, kind of like in a Zelda dungeon, where if you earn like the hook shock at example, you'll get to like certain areas you didn't get to before. And then, the boss is kind of designed around that mechanic, where the boss you fight, its weakness is your bombs, but then when you stun it, it's the weapon it's really weak against to be attacked with is like the chain scythe that you earn in the dungeon. So again, all that stuff very, very much feels like Zelda. So this game, to me, honestly, at first glance, is kind of like an Ys game. But honestly, I think this game is more like really RPG heavy Zelda, where
got it. Okay.
You're earning where you're getting different weapons and stuff, but you also have Magicite, which allows you to upgrade your character in interesting ways. Like you earn a bunch of it in the demo that give you different abilities. Like one of them is the ability to have like a further reach with your sword. One of them is to have additional bombs. One of them is to deal like double damage, but you take double damage. So they're like interesting and unique abilities, and you kind of have like a meter as to like how many you can have equipped at once.
I see.
So you kind of like mix and match based on your play style.
And that's the Magicite you said?
Yeah, the Magicite that they talked about.
Yeah, it's those. Is that those little gems we see in the trailer?
Yeah,
okay, I see.
Yeah, you have like a little gem box, and you can only fit so many gems in the gem box, Garrett. That's kind of how it determines what your abilities are.
Got it. And there's no experience like, oh, you're leveling up. type
there's
of,
no experience. It's
Right.
not. This is a game where you're not earning XP. At least in the demo. I
In the
don't
demo,
know if there
yeah.
will be in the full game. But
Yeah.
currently, no, you're not earning that. But one thing it does have, though, is there's a combo system where as you defeat enemies without getting hit, you'll then earn stars that that are like loot drop stars that then allow you to gain, extra currency or extra drops from the enemies that then you can go back to town and purchase a bunch of new gear and new things with, like new abilities with or new magicite with. Again, there's a lot of RPG elements here, even though you're not leveling your character.
So there's 7 weapon types, and then when you mean loot, is there's gonna be more than one like kind of for a weapon type? Like you'll pick up gear. Okay.
In the demo, there's like a shrine that you
Yeah.
go to, and when you complete the shrine, you get an upgraded version of the sword to
I
level
understand.
2 sword. Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Cool. No, it seems they're really trying to blend a lot of that Zelda adventure like dungeon crawling elements with RPGs. Gear related loot and some puzzles. I think I would be down with this game. Yeah.
And your character Elliot, he's an adventurer. He kind of looks like a red mage from Final Fantasy, and
definitely.
The story itself, there's not much there in the demo itself, but I kind of like his interaction with the fairy, where they have where he'll just like talk about certain things on the road, and like they'll have like conversations with each other, and like the voice acting is actually pretty good too. So like, I think that's where you're going to get a lot of like the interaction with, because you're not developing a party or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I kind of like the idea of having like a Zelda like game, but the character talks and has like a personality and stuff and has like a companion along the way, rather than the fairy just telling you, hey, you can press A to like jump across this pit or something. We're telling you how Z targeting works.
Do we know, is this confirmed to be Asano, right? Is that the...
We don't know the developer on this one.
We don't know the developer yet. I'll be interested to who is really into developing this game.
Yeah. I will mention last night when I beat the game, I was in a rush to get to Diablo. So when the credits popped up for the demo, I didn't think to look who developed this game. I definitely should have. Because there were some credits at the end of this. I just didn't think about it because again, we were trying to
get Diablo 4 in there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
I'm really happy that they really are getting into a different genre or a different style of this game in the HD2D setting. I think it's long overdue. I think we speculated on an action RPG at least on this HD2D setting. So I'm glad that they're doing it with a brand new game, and hopefully it'll work out for them.
Yeah, like this game looks really great on Switch 2. Like the bosses are like that you fight are visually interesting, and they have some unique mechanics. It almost felt it just felt like fighting a Zelda boss where there was a bunch of different mechanics that you had to deal with, but then you want to like get them in a stun space so you can just hit them over and over again to wear down them pretty quick. And usually it's like the typical knock them down 3 times and you usually beat the boss. So dude, this game was really fun. I really encourage people to try the demo, because I think it's really, really good.
As Kiku said, yes, the demo is only on Switch 2. And then it will be released for Switch 2, Xbox Series, and PS5 and PC. It's all current gen consoles.
Yeah, it's all the platforms. Yeah. It's just the demo is only Switch 2.
Yeah.
So, which is fine. Like, I think that's a nice way. Like,
I think they always have done that.
Exactly.
That's fine.
Yeah, but. And I honestly, I think too, that's like the audience you probably want to ask about a game like this anyways. Like the people that are really dialed into Zelda are the people you want to ask about this Zelda-like game, right? Like, I think that's interesting. But yeah, the only thing is the name. Really, I know a lot of people have talked about it where it's very generic and silly. And I think that's going to be a turnoff for some people or maybe not get people into this. But that's too bad, man. This game is actually pretty good.
So I actually have a question with these demos. I know they do this a lot. How do they get the feedback? Are they sending out surveys? I guess they are, right?
There's like a QR code in the credits to go do the survey. Yeah. Okay.
So it's really for the, I guess, more of the Intuit hardcore dedicated audience. Like, hey, let's. Well,
I know that they also send like an actual survey out like on their website as well that you can go fill out if you don't get the QR code, so you can still fill it out anyways. But I'm really interested to see what people actually say about this game. I hope some of the feedback they give is like the title is not great.
That title,
honestly, because that's my only complaint. Because everything else about the game I really enjoyed. Like honestly, I'm still thinking about the game, and I kind of want to. I wish there was more of it I could just.
There's two thes. The Adventures of Elliot, The Millennium Tales.
Yeah,
that is bad. That's just. I mean, that's not even AI coded, to be honest with you. I think it would remove a D.
It's just a very Japanese style.
It really is.
Name like this is like ripped straight from like a straight up 1-to-1 Japanese translation of the.
I guess so. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, look for that last game. Of course, Octopath Traveler 0, Garrett, coming out December 4th. Prequel to Octopath Traveler, otherwise known as Project Octopath Traveler 0, of course.
Of course.
We all know it.
Yes.
But this game, Garrett, is a really interesting departure from the other Octopath Traveler games because it's got this whole like town building mechanic and created characters where like you aren't really playing through the story of like characters that are already created that have like their own stories and stuff. That basically your village is attacked by bandits and it's burnt down, and you're there to like rebuild the village and to build up this like army of villagers to like take down this evil that we don't really know too much about.
Yes. Yeah. So they as you said, they kind of sprinkle in what's the premise of this game. I read through a little bit of the interview. I think it's I forgot exactly what it was. It was director or producer or whatever of this game. They were really pushing for like the player is creating their own adventure in this game. We are not giving you the story. You are picking up the pieces and figuring out your own story as you go throughout the campaign. You can tell that there's a lot more players in this game compared to other Octopath, because the other Octopath games is just 8 characters, whereas this one's going to be like Suikoden. It's going to be like well over 100.
They showed it at the end. It was like this whole row of people. There was like 50 people there.
Yeah, well over 100 characters. And then they say in the campaign, you get a maximum of like 30 characters out of 100. So you really are just picking and choosing which ones you want.
And in combat, you're really playing with 8, like the 8-person party, similar to Octopath.
You do, but then you saw at the end that you can switch layers at that major boss battle, which was super interesting as well. I'm curious how that's going to go. I think they were talking a little bit that there is a difference in the combat as well. You're going to have all 8 in like the battle system, and then there's going to be a back row and front row, and that will give you a little bit of it'll be like the Etrian Odyssey series or like Persona Q series, where the back row is going to be more for support. It'll be more ranged or more defense, whereas the front are more the heavy damage, but is vulnerable to more attacks or whatever. It's going to be like that type of deal with this combat, along with the break and boost. That's still, because
it sounds like those like mechanics from Octopath Traveler's combat are still there. It's just these extra layers on top of that, which is, I think, it's a really interesting direction for the series to go in, Garrett. Like, I'm glad actually that Octopath Traveler, like the third one, isn't just 8 more random stories that are not really connected together. Like, I like this idea, even though I'm not really the type of person that likes the games that are like, all right, make your own fun. Like, I'm not usually a big fan of that, but like, I like what they're putting down with this one, Garrett. I think it looks really cool.
It looks cool. It looks like they're trying to bring in a lot of inspiration from their mobile game as well. And I'm glad Krakow Kyle mentioned it in the Discord channel, because I really didn't know that until I really looked into that interview that I read about this game. Is that, they're trying to bring elements from both the classic games and a lot of inspiration from the mobile game that's out. As well. So, and the story's not going to be, it seems like it's not going to be really like, carefully crafted or heavily written for that specific character. Just know that this is more of you building up your village and then trying to defeat the bandits at the end. It's going to be a little bit more lighthearted.
Yeah. It almost feels like the town itself is going to be the character.
Exactly.
And, it's gonna have a carefully crafted story, Garrett. It's just gonna be about the town itself. It seems like, rather than just an individual character that exists in the town.
Yes.
Which again, I think is an interesting way to go. Now, Yarden chimes in saying, I think this should have been a new franchise. It's very different. And that's the thing. With a prequel, I think this almost feels like a side game in the same franchise. You're right, but I think it's good for them to try different stuff in the same franchise because it's still using a lot of the same mechanics, and I'm sure that the story will actually probably tie in some way to the other games.
Yeah.
So I actually think there's like, I don't actually think it necessarily needs to be like a different game, but I think of this game more as like a spin-off game. Like I don't necessarily feel like it's like the real Octopath Traveler 3, but I also think that's a good thing for this franchise.
I think so too. I mean, like it's fine being a spinoff and a prequel, and it's like, hey, let's try something pretty different than the mainline games. I think that is totally valid. You know me, Ryan. Though I saw that base building.
Yep,
I'm into it.
That would get you.
I'm into it. I'm curious how in depth that's gonna go. Like it seems like, of course you're gonna orientate your houses. You're going to have some other like supporting facilities in your village, create your own. When I was reading that interview, he said that the developers had much different playthroughs as they went throughout the game. And to play it in full completion, if you want to do everything in this game, it'll take you well over 100 hours. So it's one of those games. It's going to be like you are going to craft your own adventure. You're going to get through it in your own pace. If you want to complete everything, it's going to be a little too much for you to handle. So it really is going to be unique to each player. But yeah, I'm just curious how the village and what you decide to do with the village is going to be unique to this playthrough. Yeah,
that's the thing. We'll have to see it. Also, I just hope, honestly, like, with the base building stuff, I hope it kind of all just snaps together and it's like very, very easy to do. Like, I just don't want it to be like too cumbersome or too much of a distraction.
It seems like it's just a grid-based thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like, you're going to have to, craft all the different things and put a wall. It's not going to be like Dragon Quest Builders or anything.
Yeah,
or like the Atelier games, the latest Atelier game. Or anything like that.
That's what I'm hoping for. Is like it's just very, very easy. Although the latest Atelier game wasn't that bad either. Like,
oh really?
Everything, everything was kind of on a grid based pattern, and it was very hard to like trap yourself with design space.
Got it.
In a way that I find like some games do that with, where they're not like everything's so freeform that it's like you build yourself kind of into a corner sometimes, and you have to like dismantle stuff and then rebuild everything again. It's kind of annoying. So, yeah. By the way, I'm excited to play it. December 4th.
Yeah, me too.
Out this holiday. I don't know if I'm day one, but it's definitely like, it might be a good game to play over the holidays. We'll see, but it might be for sale. We'll see.
And this one is out on Switch 1 as well.
It is. Well, it's out on basically everything too.
It's on everything, including PS4 and Xbox One.
Yes. This is a VCR game.
Sure. Yep. It's a VCR game.
Yep. 11 years after the Xbox One came out, Garrett.
Still getting games.
Still getting new games for it.
Yeah.
So there you go. Well, Garrett, to round things out, of course, we got questions about all this from the non-podcast characters, the NPCs. Starting with the Good Sir, who says, the showcase overall was whelming to me at the best, as many of the announcements didn't thrill me. However, one thing that did pop for me was the announcement of Octopath Traveler 0. The ability to rebuild a town through the through storytelling and villager needs is really giving me some Dark Cloud vibes, which of course, new people to the show know. Good Sir writes in all the time asking about Dark Cloud 3, by the way.
Yes.
If you know anything about me, you know I've been hoping against hope for Dark Cloud 3. I feel like this could have been a nice nod to that gem of a series. Fingers crossed. Again, not much.
I guess so.
Question, but a statement. Again, we knew Good Sir. Probably all excited for this one. And this Good Sir might be the closest you ever get to Dark Cloud 3, because I still feel like Level 5's never going back to that game.
Level 5's definitely not thinking about it, unless Sony's like going out and asking them, which I highly doubt.
Yeah, or if they find another developer, but even then, I don't see that happening. So you're right. It's probably the closest thing you're going to get to it. But I also think it's a nod to some other games as well besides Dark Cloud.
I think it's a big nod to Suikoden.
Yeah,
easily with all the different characters.
Yeah. Or even something like Chrono Cross, which also had
Chrono
a bunch
Cross
of
as
different
well.
characters too. But and yeah, base building too. But yeah,
Cool.
interesting. Next up, we got Kaku Kyle, who says, "How are y'all feeling about Square Enix going action RPG instead of turn-based with your next game? Do you think Octopath Traveler 3, assuming we eventually get one, will return to turn-based? Also, side note, where the heck is Fire Emblem? Have a great weekend, guys. I appreciate you." So first off, obviously, Octopath Traveler 0 is not an action RPG. It's still turn-based.
Well, yeah.
So I would imagine, Crocodile, to answer your question, the next Octopath Traveler game, being Octopath Traveler 3 or whatever they do after Octopath Traveler 0, will probably still be turn-based.
Yeah, I do not see them putting Octopath Traveler 3 into any other genre other than turn-based in their break and boost system.
I think it's a testament to the fact that this game, Octopath Traveler 0, is still turn-based as to how they see the series going forward, where it's turn-based is what they want to do. And of course, we've heard, the folks from, Sandfall, the Expedition 33 folks, spent a week at Square Enix where they were kind of doing creative sessions with each other, where Square wanted to learn more about what made Expedition 33 successful, and then Sandfall, of course, learned more from Square Enix about what make some of their games successful. So I only see, as we've talked about on the show, Garrett, more Square Enix games going in the turn-based direction anyways in the future because of something like Expedition 33. Yeah. So of the success of that game, and also the success of Persona or other series out there, like the like a Dragon series as well. I think a lot of role-playing games are starting to see once again, turn-based is still a viable option and people want it. So I don't see Square Enix making the next Octopath Traveler game non-turn-based. But I also I like that they're taking a chance with the Adventures of Elliot and doing something different, because I think HG2D needs something different, and I'm glad they're doing something different with that engine.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't see them ever breaking the mold of the turn-based. I think Octopath Traveler 2 is such an amazing game. I don't see any reason for the third one being different in terms of mechanics or genre. I think they'll just improve upon what they already have. But yeah, they're making another game that is an action RPG. It's hard to argue this is an RPG, as you talked about the demo. It is very mixed between Zelda adventure and with our heavy RPG elements.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. It's on the line. I think it's
really
more.
Is. Yeah.
I think it's more of an RPG though after playing it than Final Fantasy 16 is.
Oh yeah, Final Fantasy 16 is it's really in the action, man. It's really in its name.
The only thing that doesn't make it an RPG would be the lack of experience.
Yes,
that's it though. Everything else about Elliot is very much a role-playing game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Where the heck is Fire Emblem, Ryan? Where is it?
They'll announce it at the next Nintendo Direct.
Yeah.
We of course predicted that there would be a new Fire Emblem game. So.
Yeah. And of course, when we saw Partner Showcase, they're not going to show any first-party stuff, but definitely going to be in the next Direct.
For sure.
Fingers crossed.
Captain Awesome, I see you hopping in the chat. I'm sorry. I got here late. I got a question. Maybe you guys already answered it. So Captain Awesome, type it in the chat. We'll continue reading the other questions, but if we see your question pop up before we get to the end of the questions, we'll read it over. Or never mind. He did that.
All right, he has it right here.
Captain Awesome, let's just answer it now. Let's get
sure. Let's go for it.
Captain Awesome says, they say that the Switch 1 version of Dragon Quest 1 and 2 doesn't upgrade to the Switch 2 version, but Final Fantasy Tactics does. Am I right? Yes, Captain Awesome. We actually mentioned that a little bit earlier, but yes, it's a free upgrade for Final Fantasy Tactics from Switch 1 to Switch 2, whereas there is no upgrade path for Dragon Quest 1 and 2, and it makes no sense to either one.
It makes zero sense. And then, as you said, the Romancing Saga, right?
Yeah, Romancing Saga 2 has a $15 Canadian upgrade path. So $10.
Yeah, it has a $1 pack on top of it. So I think Square Enix is just going. I think what they're doing is let's try all the strategies and see which one really works.
Exactly. It's so weird to me. It's so weird to me. I don't understand the logic behind it. Why do it for one and not the other? I don't understand it.
I don't know, but
Not having any path is like the thing that gets me for that game.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a
no
different
option.
SKU, and she's like, no, we're not gonna. You're gonna have to buy the full game again. She's like,
Although maybe
that's
by their
ridiculous.
logic, it's just like they're just like, oh well, this game is coming out well into the Switch 2's life. You probably know whether or not you've got a Switch 2.
I guess
coming.
so.
So
Yeah.
you'll just buy it on whatever platform you want it on.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's their logic behind this. That's the only thing to me that makes sense. Whereas like, because it's coming out later than
Yeah,
Final
it's out in
Fantasy
November,
Tactics.
right?
Yeah, it's out in November. So it's just like maybe by that logic, they're probably just like, oh, maybe a couple months later, like people already kind of know what console they have. Whereas Tactics or even Romancing Saga, those are early enough in the Switch life where it's like, oh well, a couple of people are still making that transition.
Square Enix. It's such an enigma.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. We
Yes.
got Yarden.
We got Yarden.
Who says, is a new Fire Emblem the only game that will get Garrett to buy a Switch 2? Just wondering because he keeps showing up on all these Nintendo podcasts without a Switch 2.
Yeah. The answer is yes. I think here's my mindset, Yarden, is just like, okay, a new game is released. Is it Switch 2 exclusive? No. Okay, I can get it on my PC. I can get it on Xbox. I can get it on PlayStation. I'm good. I can get on Steam Deck. I'm good. Can I? If it is a Switch 2 exclusive, do I really need a day one? Do I need to have my hands on it? Do I need to play it? It's like I don't have that game right now. Donkey Kong Banana's close, Ryan, close. But I think I just need enough Switch 2 library of games.
That's the thing.
To get me down.
I've talked about this before when talking about people making an upgrade to the next console and when they feel like they're ready to do that. It's always a tipping point where there's always like games kind of like pop on the pile of games that you want to play. Eventually that pile will tip high enough that it'll tip the scales and make you want to go buy the next console. And I mean, for me, again, it was Donkey Kong Bonanza, it was Mario Kart World, and it was Metroid Prime 4. That's all I needed to know that I wanted the Switch 2. But for other people, they might need more things on that pile to want to hop into it.
Yeah, and it's just like when Fire Emblem comes out, there will be plenty of Switch 2 games I'm ready to get into. I think I'll definitely plan it out. Like when Donkey Kong Bonanza got released, it was when during the time I was in China and when I got back from China. I'm ready to play other games. I'm ready to play Cyberpunk. I'm ready to finish out Expedition 33. I was knee deep into Mario and Luigi Brothership. Like I was already kind of gamed out. Like I wasn't going to clear the way to buy a Switch 2 and get Donkey Kong Bonanza. But it was really cool to seeing everyone playing it. It looks really fun. So I'm looking forward to it once I grab it on Switch 2. But as we saw with price increases, I'm gonna keep my finger on the pulse. Like I am not gonna spend $100 more for a Switch 2 later on if I can help it. So yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, Garrett, we got the final question of the show this week. This comes to us from Kiku. And she asks, of course, what is the strangest thing you've ever seen come from a limited edition of a game? This isn't the weirdest one I've seen, but I've got this one cute mini curry spoon from Monogatari, and I'll put it up here on the screen here. It looks like this. It's a spoon. And it comes with a little thing. It's a curry spoon, and then it comes, Garrett, with instructions on how to use it.
It does come with instructions. Wow.
So if you're watching the video, folks, make sure to check that. If not, Kiku has it posted to the Discord. But I just thought that was funny. So that's the thing. As someone who used to collect a lot of collector's editions, Garrett, like
you got some weird ones.
Honestly, I don't have any weird ones. That's
okay.
I actually collected a lot of the more normal ones. The weirdest one for me is probably I'm gonna share this tab instead here. This is actually not from a role-playing game, of course. This is from Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, Garrett. There's a collector's edition for this, and it came with night vision goggles, Garrett.
Oh, is this the which one? 2010?
Yeah, the 2010 like Xbox 360 Modern Warfare 2.
That is hilarious.
And they work. You put batteries in them, and they were a fully functioning pair of night vision goggles, Garrett.
That's insane.
That work correctly and are awesome. So I had to give that a a shout out, and I'm going to prep this other one here. This other one that my ex-girlfriend I got for her. This was for a game that I love very much, Garrett. This is a game, Catherine, of course. Very great.
Catherine, yes.
Had this collector's edition, Garrett. And
oh boy.
It comes with a pair of boxer shorts that has
yes, it does.
things on them. And it comes in like a pizza box. And it has like this heart t-shirt as well. Which I know that actually to this day she still wears. So getting lots of use out of it. But yeah, Catherine's actually a game I love.
Hilarious.
And this is like obviously like the most like Catherine collector's edition I could probably ever think of.
Yeah.
But it's just a bunch of weird items in there. Like this is the type of thing like most people would be like, why are you spending extra
why are
money
you
for
buying this? Like this is insane. Yeah. No, I get it.
But the night fishing goggles definitely are probably like out of all the ones I've owned, that's probably the weirdest one. But what about you?
I of course haven't bought too many physical edition like crazy collector edition stuff. I've gotten the Gwent cards. I've gotten the Persona Q special, both of them, Q1 and Q2 special editions.
Yeah.
And then, I haven't gotten any of the Fallout. I wanted to. I had that freaking Pip-Boy.
You could have had that bag from Fallout 76 that everyone complained about.
Oh, of course. I should have gotten the special edition of Fallout 76. Oh, that's great. But I did buy from, I think it was just like a trial run from Target, the Nuka-Cola Quantum. And it was just this physical, it's an actual bottle drink from Target. And it was capped as well. It was blue. It didn't actually glowed in the dark a little bit, so I was kind of afraid to drink it, but I never opened it. So I kept it for years. I actually got it, I think, when I was in Lubbock, Texas. And that was back in 2016-ish era. And then all the way till I think I graduated from my PhD at Pittsburgh, I still had it. I was moving it around with me. I think I just threw it away. Of course, it would be too old to. And then I was looking up prices. It was not like a marketable or like a good seller's collector's item, so I just threw it away. So
that was kind of like the same thing happened where my friend was in Japan and she mailed me from Japan a Final Fantasy mana potion, which was a crossover, a promotion they did with Final Fantasy Advent Children when that was in theaters, and it was like a blue liquid that it was meant to look like a mana potion from Final Fantasy, and I kind of did the same thing where I was like, I don't know if I ever drink this. And then it was not a collector thing, and I had to get rid of some stuff. So I was like, all right, this is probably going out as much as I love this. So I thought that was funny, like the gaming theme drinks. But actually, Kiku brings up a great one in the chat here. How about the Saints Row $4 million limited edition that comes with plastic surgery, a Lamborghini, and a trip to space? I love that was a thing, by the way. It was a one-of-one collector's edition.
$1 million
for Saints Row 4. That cost $1 million, and you got again everything that's.
Did they sell it?
No.
It
was basically a big publicity stunt, but in theory, anyone could have purchased it if they wanted to. If they had $1 million, you could have owned it, and of course, it comes with a copy of Saints Row 4 as well on top of it.
I hope it comes.
But you got to go to space. You got to go to space.
Yeah.
Although actually, it's funny Kiku brought this up. The only other collector's edition that I remember seeing that is like the weirdest one to me I've ever seen was there was one for Dead Island Riptide. They did where it came with like a bust of like a half-eaten like zombie lady that you kept in your house, and it was all like bloody and stuff. And I was just like, who wants this? Why would you ever want this? It doesn't come with a head or anything like that. It's like a torso.
That's creepy. No, I'm good.
It's just really, really weird. I didn't ever understand why that collector's edition existed.
There's a couple of, actually quite a bit of collector's editions from Japan. They got the underpants too.
They do. Just like Catherine.
Like Catherine. So weird stuff.
Yeah. Well, anyways, Garrett, we got to get going because that's the end of this episode of the RPG Cave. But before we go, of course, we got to say thank you to all of our patrons over at patreon.com/carpool gaming, starting with our ultimate producers, Brendan Myers, aka The Winter Gamer, Jonathan Brown, the man behind the music on the Xbox Drive. You can find all of his music over his Linktree, linktr.ee/pme.gib, or just search for Purple Monkey Entertainment or PME on your pod or your music service of choice. TechMike, who says, whether you're Kevesi or Agnian, you're a Xenobabe at heart. Links to all of our ultimate producers can always be found in the description of our podcast. Our platinum producers, Benny, Peje P, Smokin' Joe, the Captain, and Tim Paullin, and our gold members, Adam K, Anna, Awesome Dave 1337, Brad Moore, Brian Reese, Cecily Carrozza, Dan and Luma, Dannohh, Emily Kelly, John 32, Laura, Ligerwoods 330, Mr. Giggles, OldMrFrump, and Stephen Keller. Huge thank you once again to all of our patrons over at patreon.com/carbogaming. If you want to hop in the car with us, head over there, choose the tier that's right for you. And now, Garrett plugs go.
You can find me on Blue Sky at Blind Explosion. You can find me on the Discord. I read every single message on the RPG Cave, even though I don't respond most of the time. I still read them. And then I'm getting into the PC gaming channel. I see a lot of activity there. I see a lot of activity on the Xbox Drive channel as well. I kind of dabble in here and out in the Discord. So, and then also you can follow me on Backlogged. I did update my reviews and my current play sessions. So go check out at Blind Explosion in the Backlog. I did send out my reviews for Blueprints for Expedition 33 on Backlog. So go check that out. Nice. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I was going to say, I've barely updated my backlog lately because literally it's been Final Fantasy 14 and then demos, like Shinobi and then, Elliot. So it's just like, you can't put those on there. As for me, you can always find me on Blue Sky at Ryan Turford and the Discord at Ryan Turford. And you also find me on backlog.com at Ryan Turford and also letterboxd.com at Ryan Turford as well. So for Garrett Bland, I'm Ryan Turford. This has been the 192nd level of the RPG Cave. Only 8 more levels until level 200.
Ooh.
And we're out.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.